Let's
There's
do
nothing
this.
in my brain. There's nothing in my brain, people. Nothing
Good
here.
evening out there, internet.
Hi.
It's Tuesday night. It's Scuba and The Ry, your weekly dose of movies, games, and conversation.
Everything in between with a little bit of variety.
Just a little bit. And of course, this is Scuba, and you see Ry over here.
Right here.
So we're back. This is episode 112.
112, according to the notes.
According to the notes.
According to the notes. So if it's wrong, blame the notes, people. Blame the notes. Which means you blame me, because I put in the notes. So technically, blame me if it's wrong. Ha ha. All right.
Alrighty. So, yeah, I'm going to shut off the work computer for a little bit.
Yes, because it's time to party with the...
It's time to podcast. I can work late. I can work later, but we're going to podcast now. So we're going to podcast.
Podcast, my friends.
So we are live and in color. For the most part, apparently I'm doing some updates on some firmware and it hasn't finished yet. So yeah.
Just have to update and do the things and thingy thingies of all the other things that we can.
All the things.
All the things. Keep off camera for copyright reasons.
Yep. I don't have enough gaff tape. Sorry.
Just know I'm caffeinated. That's all you need to know.
Caffeinated is good.
Yeah, caffeinated.
Caffeinated is always good.
With pure leaf.
Purely. Oh, yeah. Sweet tea.
Yeah. You know.
All
I can't
right.
do coffee. For some reason, I can't do coffee past this time because it'll keep me up, but this will keep me up just enough.
Just enough?
Just enough.
Yeah, I have 1 cup of coffee in the morning. And of course, it's one of those like travel tumblers. That's like 16 ounces.
Yeah.
That's like the 1 cup of coffee I have. On a rare occasion, I might have a second. But I have that one, and my wife is nice enough to make it, and she's getting ready for work. She puts it here on my desk. When I finally get up, sit down, and start doing work,
yeah.
I have it.
Yeah.
Now, some days I have it, and it's still really warm. Other days, it's not so much. And you know what? That's my own damn fault.
Yeah, it happens.
I mean, it's my fault because I waited too long to get out of bed.
Yeah. I don't have that problem. I have 2 alarms that go off, and I have been navigating back to some coffee in the morning. We started reusing our Keurig machine again, so I bought a vanilla brulee K-cup from Target that I drink. It's really good. Put that in 2 sugars, just keeps me going. I can't do straight black. It's got to be a mix. It's got to be a cappuccino, some kind of twist to it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not terrible.
So, but yep, I have started to do that. I guess that means I'm getting old. Slipping into the coffee world.
Right?
Yeah.
Very weird. Very weird. All right.
I'm here and awake.
You're here and awake.
Yes.
That's a good thing. You're here and awake. I've been so busy, I forgot to pull up the show notes. I know I did some stuff on it this morning. I know you did stuff, so.
Oh, yeah. I
just got to pull it up so I can look at it.
I'm the guy. I'm the one that keeps it flowing.
Oh, yeah. So
you just bring it up, I'll fill it in.
So yeah, we got a couple of things to talk about tonight. We got 1 movie review. Gonna chat a little bit about Book of Boba Fett. I've heard a few things on it. I'm still a little behind, but you know what? I don't care. I'll watch it anyway.
4 episodes. Watch the 4th today because it drops every Wednesday. So
and you know what? You weren't wrong. Moon Knight looks like it is the next one because it looks like it's dropping March 30th.
Yep. So the rumors were true. Like I told Scuba offline, it's like rumor has it that the trailer for Moon Knight was going to drop soon, and it did.
It did, and it was totally worth it. I can't wait to check this series out.
Yep.
So, I mean...
It's a character I have little to no knowledge of, so I am intrigued. I know the surface.
I'm intrigued by it. The little thing is like, okay, so this is going to end on March... This is going to start on March 30th.
Yeah, that's what
we're going to finish Book of Boba Fett mid-February.
Yeah.
So we got a huge space between mid-February and the end of March that we're not going to have a Disney Plus show on Wednesday nights to keep us entertained.
Yeah, but there's plenty of other shows I can fill in because with work and school, because I'm reading stuff like this book right here.
Oh, yeah.
But
you gotta have that read by the 25th.
Yep.
Is that what the post-it said?
Yeah, read by 25th. It's a novel a week. A novel a week.
A novel. Oh man.
So a novel a week. So you see, it's thick. This is actually not one of the thicker ones, but
man, I haven't read like that since I powered through the Harry Potter series in a week.
Yeah, but Yeah. So I meant even though there's no Disney Plus show, there's plenty of shows that are coming in that I can fill in that time slot. Like Peacemaker dropped in HBO Max.
Yeah, I'm wondering how that's going because that
It's-
seemed like it was a little out of left field.
Yeah, but it's getting a lot of praise across the board. Critics, fans, everybody likes it. Says James Gunn's knocked it out the park again. So
I mean, he's got an. Yeah, I do like his style
Yeah.
of writing and directing. I
So
mean,
they say that it's a good combination between what he does for Guardians and what he did for the Suicide Squad. So it's both humors coming together, sides. So, but
all right, we'll have to check that out.
and my favorite show on Netflix is coming back. I think it drops Friday, but Ozarks, the final season.
Okay.
So part 1 of the final season because they're split it up between 7 and 7, so it's 14 total.
I just watched the second book for Dota, Dragon's Blood.
I haven't finished that. I don't remember what episode I'm on, but with Netflix, they stop you at a point so you know where you're at. So
Yeah, I saw the first book. I thought it was really cool. I didn't I didn't realize it felt like it was going to be a one-off.
yeah,
And then they said, "Oh, book 2 is coming." So and then it was like, "All right, book 2 dropped yesterday."
Oh,
So
yeah.
at the end of the workday, I unplugged, I sat in my chair, and I watched book 2 all the way through.
yep. It's always good to unplug. It's that work-life balance. So I got to catch up on that because I want to see book 2. I did see a trailer for a Cuphead series Netflix is doing. So Netflix is turning into the place where they're adapting video games to series and doing quite well.
Yeah, depending
Arcane.
on the property. Like, I don't know why we're messing with Cuphead because Cuphead is just.
Yeah, the trailer makes it look pretty good. So we'll see.
I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of the. I was a fan of the game until I heard how brutal the game was.
Oh yeah, I never touched the game because I don't want to suffer playing games. I don't want to cry. I don't want to throw my $60+
the
controller.
Style looked really cool because it was like that 30s, 40s kind of
Completely
art style.
Yeah, completely hand drawn. All the stuff in that game.
But it was like the boss battles and the general mechanics just made it absolutely brutal.
Like you really have to be top notch to beat those.
I mean, would you say it's probably a fair estimate just based on what we heard that Dark Souls would be an easier game to play than Cuphead?
Yes, and I can't even pick up a Dark Souls, even though I'm planning to get their next game, Elden Ring, in February. So, wish me luck if I can survive that game.
I mean, if you want a precursor, I've got Bloodborne for PS4, and I've got the Dark Souls stuff for Xbox.
I do have Bloodborne on my PS4. It's just I refuse to play it because
I actually didn't think it was too bad. I had just started it, and it was, you'll pay for it just like anything in that Dark Souls franchise. If you don't get that dodge and parry down, you are wrecked.
Yeah, it's I mean, I would try. I just haven't turned my PS4 on in ever. So maybe one day. But yeah, this past weekend, pretty much reading. As you can see, I have this here, and reading and football with a mix of doing some shopping of some sorts. But other than that, just busy between the two, and a little bit of time I sneak in, get a movie in, get a show in, try to do my thing. So that's my weekend. What about you, Scoop?
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad. I'm seeing some stuff on here. It's like
It's
really
throwing
kinda
you
weird.
off?
a little bit. I'm gonna try and adjust on the fly here and see what's happening.
Technical difficulties, but we're working our way through, people.
No, it seems like one microphone is picking up the other one, depending on when it gets started. So there might be some slight echoing. I noticed that on the audio tracks, but yeah, we'll get to it. Anyways,
We'll fix it.
Anyways,
But your weekend.
my weekend. I had a weekend.
There we go. We had a weekend, guys and gals.
I was basically just cleaning. I mean, the weekend wasn't all that exciting. I really didn't do anything other than just detox mentally from everything going on. We did some errands, we did some cleanup, so not really super exciting.
Oh yeah.
Just
Sometimes a weekend is just that.
yeah, that's like I know I have stuff to do and I know I have stuff I should be working on. It's so we will get better as time goes on.
Yeah, time keeps going, so we can find a little bit to do each day.
Yeah, I think I powered through all the English dubbed versions of Baruto.
That's over 200 episodes, right?
Nope. Actually, only the first 52 are dubbed.
Oh, okay.
Everything, the rest of them are all subbed.
Okay, yeah, because I know they're at like 250 something.
Yeah, and there's something like 500 of Shippuden, and Shippuden has a little bit more that are dubbed, but they didn't finish dubbing.
Well, yeah, you know, I powered through that. I did that. When did I did that last year. I powered through Shippuden, all 500 plus episodes.
I thought about it, but then it was like I figured I'd give Baruto a try, and to be fair, I was actually pleasantly surprised with the show. Yes, I'm a couple of years behind the curve. Don't judge me.
Hey, let them judge me because I'm just as far back on that show as you. So,
but I thought that was interesting in how it is. You know, we see the next generation of kids in the Leaf. We see how, because one of the things I liked about it, I thought was nice, and this is nice about the whole Naruto franchise, is you have Naruto, and then at some point you see the previous generation, his dad, and then Jiraiya's time frame, and then you see the next generation coming up, which like Konohamaru and his friends, and then in Baruto you see that Naruto's a full-fledged adult, he's the Hokage, he had his dream, great,
his dream came true.
You see Konohamaru and his friends are now adults and are jonin, and then you see all the kids, and you start to then see, okay, who married who in there, and it's like that. I think is a nice set of depth for this franchise that has gone for 2 or 3 generations of characters.
Yeah, it's a like if you all those payoffs of relationships and where people are in the series at that time, it pays off a lot of things that show in Shippuden. Like a lot of stuff is loose threads from Shippuden, so kind of like him becoming Hokage, because that didn't. The series Naruto didn't end with him becoming Hokage.
No, it didn't.
It ended with the marriage between him and Hinata.
Yeah.
So
it ended with their marriage, and then it picked up 10 years later.
Yeah.
And he became Hokage only a couple of years prior to the start of the show. So, which is fine. I mean, to be fair, you don't want to shortchange Kakashi as Hokage, because I'm sure Kakashi was a great Hokage.
Oh yeah, he did some things in his time. You know, he kept it simple, and you know he's pretty laxed until you do something, and he just whoops your butt. So
yeah, that was one of the things I thought was fun, because you could see where they took certain themes from the first series and retreaded them in Baruto at an earlier point. So it's like, okay, this is kind of cool. But I went through that, and it's like I'm not sure I'm going to do the sub stuff, because I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I want to try and go through that, because my time is so limited, and if it's sub, then you're going to want to watch it so you can read all the text.
You just like I said, you know, sub and dub, everybody has their taste in what stuff, but you know, when it's subbed, and if you're not really used to watching a lot of sub stuff, which I am, you got to pay attention. And even for me, when I really want to watch something, or if I want to watch something that's sub, it's fine. But if I'm tired and I can flip it to the other side, dub, I'll put the dub on.
Yeah, I just would like them to see that. I'd like to see them dub the rest of the franchise.
Yeah, well, it all depends on what they decide, because they're all working on the Boruto series, so we'll see. But the thing is, I think different studios do the dub, I think.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe there's some insight somewhere. If you know, throw something in the comments.
Yeah. If I find a link, I'll send it to you. I got you.
Lord.
Did you break something?
No, it's just my phone is vibrating because all the messages being
Scooters.
Yeah.
Nope.
I will look at it later. I'm not looking at it now.
For this hour, it's you and I.
Yes.
And all the random stuff.
And it's our thing. So, speaking of that, let's go ahead and dive into our review this week.
What is it? What is? Dun dun dun.
The new Scream movie.
Yes.
Now this is a sequel in the franchise. This isn't a reboot.
Nope, it's the fifth in the
franchise. Yeah. So, Ry, you went to go see it.
Yes, I did.
How was it?
Scream, what they call the fifth in the franchise, a re-sequel. So what they said, they reintroduce it, but it's still a sequel, and they kind of play a mockery of it in the film, so it's kind of funny. So being the 5th chapter in it, and diving into this franchise, you know that Scream is one of the unique horror franchises that it doesn't play to the tropes and the obvious archetypes that you know in horror films. Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, just to name a few recognizable ones. What they do in the Scream franchise is that they take those tropes and archetypes and play upon it through satire, through satirical references, through realism, and actually going against the trope or being a mockery of it. And Scream 2022 is no exception. So what happens is that 25 years have passed since the original Scream and the original murders, and now everything seems at peace until a new ghost face has reemerged and goes on a murderous rampage. So with the town being trapped in this fear again, through circumstances, it drags back Sidney Prescott and a couple others that you might recognize. Gail, played by Courtney Cox, and Dewey, played by David Arquette. They bring them back into the town because of this, but also bring in a new cast of characters led by Sam, who's played by up-and-coming actress Melissa Barrier. These new cast of characters have connections to certain people and things of the original. So that's one of the things that is connecting it throughout the films. There's other things that connect it with the other films, but more importantly, it connects to the first film.
Is it a kind of connection that doesn't feel forced, like Scream 3 or 4, I think, where you had Lance Hendrickson in there and he played the studio owner of Sydney that Sydney's mom used to work for?
No, it's not forced.
All these really kind of I mean, this seems like we're just grasping at straws to make connections.
No, it's I honestly I can't speak on 3 and 4. I never watched those two, but I've seen 1 and 2. But
it's a pretty good sequel.
But it doesn't. There's nothing forced. Everything is very seamless and organic. And what the directors do here is that they understand the lore and the material, and what people love about this franchise is that it's a mockumentary, a realistic application of the tropes, but playing against those tropes through satire and funny. Scream is really not a horror franchise. It's more of a comedy that plays against the horror tropes. And this one actually brings it back to the first by doing that, by bringing it back to base level and just start murdering people. And the group has to figure out who's the killer. What are the rules of this current thing? And all of these characters, they're just like the next generation because they all trace back through either a friend or a familial tie to some of the people of the original. There's a lot of nostalgic elements, especially in the first sequence. It's a scene by scene kind of remake of the first scene in the first one, where you pick up the phone and then she's answering the call from the stranger and they're having a conversation about horror films. And what it does is that it lays the foundation for the rules of this new ghost face killer. No pun intended. But what you have is it's a typical whodunit mixed in with satire of the horror genre of today, but at the same time pushing realism through that meta-like setting in a very organic fashion. Like each kill plays against what you think might happen, but it doesn't happen in that fashion. The hiding behind the door, the sneaking around only through dark, it plays against those by trying to refresh the killings. So the motive is based in what I really appreciate is that it tackles the idea of fandom and how toxic fandom can be. And what you find in this current state of Scream is that people have been making films based on the murders that happened 25 years ago. And what happens is that because of the stagnation, it has built this like fervor toxicity of that situation, which is driving the ghost face killer now. And once you get into the third act, the what and whys and certain reveals happen, which makes everything that was loose all come back in a full circle. The third act does feel a little preachy and does feel a lot monologue because some of the reasonings can seem kind of just convenient. But the third act is filled with a bloodlust and that dynamic that you love seeing in a Scream movie. So even when it comes down, it does end on a high note. So.
All right. So ultimately, what are you calling this?
Overall, I think this is a great whodunit mixed in with the satire. This is a very strong this is a very strong sequel for those that are fans of this franchise, or even fans of the back when you play against trope with horror. But overall, I think it was a good time. It does get dragged down by certain things. Suspension of disbelief, I understand that you have to do that when you're watching any kind of film, even if it's a realistic drama. But there are certain things where it's like, I can't suspend disbelief because of this and that don't make any sense. But even so, still fun time. 3 out of 5. Worth seeing at the theater at the right price. But if you're a fan, check it out.
Cool. Cool. All right. Go, and you want to read more of those reviews, go to ryreviews.com. Link in the description for that particular review. And go check out. I
think you would like it. If you like the first Scream, Scoob, or at least the second one.
I've seen all of them. It's been so long since the fourth one came out.
Yeah. I wouldn't worry, really, for anybody out there and you, Scoob, I wouldn't really worry about 3 and 4. It ties back to the original. More so.
Okay.
Yeah. And you'll probably be laughing so hard because of the jokes they make and the poke fun it makes at horror today, and it's just funny what they do when they play against the toxicity of fandom. Not just horror, but it makes fun of that in a way that you're just like, dang, that could be me.
So, all right, moving along. I do remember one of the things I did over the weekend, and that was we did an episode of the Feywild Venture.
Feywild.
Where our D&D game is back. Saturday night went well. We had our big top extravaganza. We had some interesting dialogue and interaction, and a really good cliffhanger. So it's up here it's up on the YouTube channel if you want to watch it. If you're a Patreon member, you can watch it live every other Saturday night, 8 p.m. But we had fun. We may talk about it some more for some questions from past episodes. So alrighty. So another thing we can talk about is we talk a little bit about the Book of Boba Fett. Now, how is this series going? To be honest, I am halfway through episode 2 because episode 2 was kind of boring, and I've heard the second half of episode 2 is really good. Episode 3 had a great cliffhanger with the spice.
The Pike Syndicate.
Yeah, the Pike Syndicate. They run spice. So yeah, the Pike Syndicate arriving on Tatooine. How did episode 4 go?
Okay, episode 4. If you've been watching the series, you know it does that back and forth, flashback and current. Mm-hmm. So episode 4 shows how Boba Fett picks up what's her name?
Fennec Shand.
Yeah, finds her, because you remember she was left for dead in Mandalorian season 1. Check that out if you get a chance. But it shows their meeting, how he saves her, and then how he gets his ship out of Jabba's fortress. So that's the flashback. Oh. So you see the connections. And I'm not going to spoil too much, but what it does, episode 4, it fills in. There was been a lot of complaints as motive, reason, and all these loose threads that they've been playing through the other ones, which kind of drags down episode 3 a little bit. But this film is this is the episode that brings everything together. Motive, reason, stakes. And it starts to build upon something that has been an issue in the first 3 episodes, is that if you want to run this place, you need people. And now you're starting to see Boba Fett setting his plan in action. And
he's starting to amass.
There's a foreshadowing of people. I mean, he brings in a couple new in this episode, but like an actual group, you don't see that. But there's a foreshadowing because Fennec mentions that if you're going to do this, you need people. And it's a little slight spoiler. He mentions, she asks, does he have, capital? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, money can buy you some people. And then, it kind of foreshadows who might be coming. So, yep. Okay. So episode 4 is what sets, I don't think there's going to be any flashbacks. I think the flashbacks in here because it leads up unto the stuff in Mandalorian season 2.
Okay.
So now it looks like the stage is set for Boba Fett's like motive and reason. Why does he want to be the? You know how to say the words? The guy. It starts with a D. I'm sorry, guys. I can't remember. Daimyo. It shows why he wants to do that. all the explanations of why he wants that position gets explained in this episode.
Okay.
So
So go check it out on Disney Plus.
yep, check it out. I think it's going to start to get good. It's been a little bit shaky, but I think this is where it's going to.
Sweet, sweet. All right. So next thing we're going to talk about is we're going to chat.
Chat. Haven't played a lot of games, but there's been some big game news.
Yeah, there
specifically around our main topic today, which is Microsoft.
Yeah, Microsoft's got a couple of things to talk about. The first thing we're going to briefly touch on is last week we talked about how Sony was restarting their production of PS4s because of shortages with PS5s. Well, shortly after that story came out, it was revealed that Microsoft quietly stopped all production of their older consoles so they could focus exclusively on the Series X and Series S consoles. And that seems to have helped them because they're getting more of those. They're getting those out, and more of those out than. So I imagine there's definitely a difference in the availability of Xbox consoles to PlayStation consoles, even though PlayStation consoles are better selling.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Yeah. But it's just kind of interesting where Sony, because of certain shortages, they're taking and putting out the PS4 again because they still have the stuff. Why not put it out there and hopefully get it profit until they can get the PS5 up to here? But Microsoft's doing the reverse.
Yeah, and Microsoft is forging their own path.
Yep.
Hence the news that came out yesterday that Microsoft announced a deal to purchase Activision Blizzard for $68.7 billion with a B.
Yeah, let's just round up the 70.
$70 billion. And the deal is looking to finalize sometime in 2023.
Yeah.
And it will mean that now Microsoft owns one of the largest, if not one of the largest independent studio groups after Bethesda.
Yeah, it's just they're just, not only does this expand their grip on, a lot more titles, what this does is that it adds the collective to that Game Pass and makes it even more stronger going into the future.
And that's the thing, is some of the stuff it's talking about, there's concern about Call of Duty. Let's address that. Let's talk about that first. There's a concern about Call of Duty because Call of Duty is consistently some of the best-selling games year over year.
Yeah.
And they do really well on the PlayStation platform. So the concern is, okay, now that Microsoft is going to own Activision and they're going to own Call of Duty, does that mean is how does that impact the Call of Duty releases? Now, Phil Spencer has said, and I'm paraphrasing his quote, that they're not going to do anything to jeopardize the communities that are established around these games.
Yeah.
So to me, I think that means that, we're not going to do anything really stupid with this, but we're going to we may adjust the model a bit. And they've already set a precedence with previous games. Like when they bought Mojang, they kept Minecraft available everywhere.
Yeah.
And even though they've been doing upgrades, and when they did Minecraft Dungeons, they put that out everywhere. That wasn't an exclusive. Then there are other titles like Bethesda's their Starfield, which is going to be an Xbox exclusive.
Yeah, Xbox PC exclusive.
Which, that's fine. And so I imagine this is going to be a tweak. Now it'll be nice to see some of the properties come to console versus PC, or to see if they're going to move forward with some of these franchises. But then but I think the bigger thing is the fact that Microsoft Games has always been looking at, okay, how do we make games accessible? And I think, like you said, this is going to make Game Pass even stronger because on top of the announcement that they bought Activision for $70 billion, and they announced that they had something like 25 million subscribers to the Game Pass platform.
Yeah,
which there's a huge milestone in and of itself.
And I didn't pull an article for this, but it's out there. It's that not only is this adding that collective to Game Pass and making it stronger, because the thing with Game Pass, it works console and PC, so it translates.
Yeah.
But also, another thing that's out there is that the Ubisoft Plus is coming to Game Pass as well, which will put Ubisoft's games available through Game Pass as well. So it's just adding to the idea of what Phil Spencer is transforming the gaming situation of the Xbox, and not just being singular but continual.
Yeah.
So the fact that, one, they discontinued the old Salt platform, which is good because it takes those resources and moves it forward. But purchasing this it's a twofold thing. One, it brings in more developers and more creative minds, because when you have games like Warcraft, Overwatch, Diablo, you have a vast array of programmers. But also, this will lead to some cleaning house, because we all know the PR situation over there at
Activision's got horrible PR right now.
Yep, and
between the work condition scandals,
yes,
Bobby Kotick, I mean, take your pick. I mean, there are plenty, a number of people out there who are so irritated with Bobby Kotick, they're like, I ain't spending any money on your products while you're CEO.
This is actually going to probably help, bring some people back that might have left.
Oh yeah, I imagine that's going to fix a lot of things, because Microsoft ain't playing this game.
Nope.
But and it's already been rumored that Bobby Kotick is going to leave as CEO once this is finalized.
Yep, the reports. It's like not long after this came out, reports started coming out right after that saying that. So yeah, they're going to start cleaning
I'm
house.
Not surprised. I mean, he can't be. He's got to realize, and I imagine that the scandals and some of the performance has really kind of hurt Activision Blizzard in making them very vulnerable to this acquisition.
Yeah.
And another thing, and this is kind of interesting, is let's look at this. All the esports stuff. What are the biggest esport games? Overwatch, Call of Duty.
Yeah.
I mean,
anything MOBA, like StarCraft.
So guess what? Now Microsoft pretty much has a grip on all the esports games.
So
and this was an interesting comparison. It's like PlayStation, Sony does not have a game that is in the esports arena at the same level as Call of Duty, StarCraft, Overwatch.
Nope.
They don't have one now, and Microsoft seems to have purchased the top 5 esport games and all of the stuff that goes along with that.
Yeah.
As part of this deal, it's like this is huge.
It's an aim, not at, like I said, it's not that singular. It's that continual evolution. They're aiming for which they started way back, the clouds, investments, because you can take the money from all that stuff and then develop first party stuff, because you have this array of developers you can bring in. Starfield.
He's not worried about the quote unquote console wars. He's worried about making games accessible. They were trying to compete with the mobile space.
Yeah.
Of all things. It's like, no, Sony, we're not going to compete with you. We're going to coexist, and we're going to focus on the mobile space.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny, because what it is like, this is a full circle. And I mentioned this when they launched the Xbox One. Like when they originally launched and said what they were going to do, and people were pushing back on it.
Oh yeah.
And now they kept their guns and pulled it back, but reintroduced it, and now everybody's embracing what they were going to do in the first place when they launched the Xbox One. So yeah, it's a full circle. It's a full circle.
I mean, you can't beat the way the cloud gaming's working and all of that.
Yeah,
so this is
I have
great.
tried. I have tried a few of the games through the cloud gaming, and I can tell you, it is pretty good.
That's because they actually have the consoles in the data centers.
Yeah.
It isn't an emulator or anything like that. It's the actual consoles, and you're playing it via the console.
Yeah.
I mean, which you saw was coming when they first announced the whole stream your console to your PC stuff back with the Xbox One. And now it's like, we're there.
Yeah.
But I think this is nice.
Full circle.
I think one of the jokes that we were talking about, and this was something I was trying to do as a funny teaser for the episode, is like, what? Microsoft fixed Activision.
Yes. They fixed it. Yay. With 70 billion. Yay. Give me 70 billion.
Throw money at a problem and get it fixed.
Well, Microsoft said you can. Poof.
Yeah, well, it's Microsoft.
Yeah.
And now Phil has Activision and Bethesda So what studio think what studio conglomerate do you think's next on the hit
The
list?
next really big one out there is Ubisoft and EA. Those are the two major ones, but they already have deals with Microsoft because all those EA games are on Game Pass.
Yeah,
So
that's a good deal. And EA's, I mean, I don't think, and
look at
the other
oh
thing I'm concerned about is if they go much further, they might start getting people might start be wanting to throw antitrust, like when Disney bought up Marvel, bought up Pixar, and then bought up Marvel, and then bought out Lucasfilms. It's like, they have 60% of the movie share
yeah.
now because or when they bought Fox was the last one that really got the whole thing. Is like, wait a minute, you now have 60% of all the films coming out in a calendar year.
Yeah, that's a lot. They started throwing that as like Microsoft, is this a monopoly? But in a technical sense, it's not because there's a lot of game studios out there. So there's a lot of independent game studios out
And I
there.
and I think
So
I think the approach Phil Spencer has with the fact that we're going to focus on gaming, we're
yeah,
going to focus on gaming accessibility, and it's like, they're still going to let these studios operate.
yeah,
It's just now they have a new person they report to, but it's not like they're and he's already demonstrated. It's not like he's gonna be like, "Oh, I have all these. You have to buy my console." It's like, no, we have these. They'll be out, in this order. It may be we may see some games. It's like, all right, we're gonna have exclusivity on Xbox for a year, and then it's gonna be available on the other console.
yep.
Or it's gonna be, all right, yeah, we're gonna sell it on all the console, but it's gonna be on Game Pass on day one.
Yep. So it's not like you said, they're focused on the games, focus on building accessibility more than locking it down on Xbox because you saw they got Bethesda, but really the only exclusive is Starfield.
Yeah, all
So
the rest of them they're keeping. All the rest of them are there, and we'll see what happens with Elder Scrolls 6. We'll see what happens with Fallout 5
yeah.
when those come out. Which I'm sure it's like you can't not put those out everywhere because everybody that's where everyone's going to get them. Now it's interesting how Game Pass a year ago Sony was like, "Yeah, we're not doing anything related to that. We don't see how that's profitable."
Now guess what?
To
They're
they're
doing it.
exploring doing something like that on their system.
Yeah, it's just like, well, yeah, that's how I play a lot of games now. It's just through Game Pass. Like I'll purchase maybe one or two that I know I really want, but other than that, I will test something out really quick or play something really
I need to
quick.
play more games. I really got to make time to play more games.
Yeah, even with my busy schedule, I still find a couple hours to sneak something in. So, yeah, that's what the Game Pass does. All right.
Alrighty, so next up we got some odds and ends.
Oddies and endies, my friends.
Yeah, we're just rolling right through. It's quiet night tonight, man.
Yep. Yeah, because we got it streamlined. Even with
Streamlined.
technical difficulties, we
Yeah, even with
streamlined.
technical difficult. All right,
That's
let's see what we
I
got
have good
here.
note taking. I pat myself on the back. Good
All
job,
right,
Ronald.
so Goldfish Can Drive. What's going on with this?
Okay, so Goldfish Can Drive. That's a little lead in into this. It's reported on Live Science that scientists have built done a weird experiment where they've had water-filled cars driven by goldfish. So goldfish are driving vehicles through a water tank.
Yeah, I'm seeing this GIF and I'm just like, what?
Yes. So the reason they are doing this because according to the article, in the wild, quote, goldfish and many other species must navigate to find food and shelters for survival. But it's not always clear how these animals learn to navigate a space, and for fish, whether the brain network that allows them to navigate a coral reef would be of any use on the land. So it's a test of experiment to see how they coordinate. So they're trying to take that coordination from their own habitat and putting it into an experiment.
Oh, see, you know what I find really fascinating about this is the fact the way they designed it with the camera and the fact it's got a sensor and the sensor is watching whichever side of the tank the fish is
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
That's the direction it goes. And
Yeah.
and I like how they were smart enough to keep it as omnidirectional as possible.
Yep. So they based on the article, just to summarize it in some detail, they did 6 goldfish and they trained it to pilot the FOV. So the vehicle is called the FOV. And the way they say it, the way they're able to train, because they based it on the logic of if a person is in a car for the first time without telling them anything about it, quote, they will realize that what they do with the steering wheel matters with which way the car goes. So they did this experiment to showcase that fish, even if they're chaotic in the beginning, they become coordinated once they figure out their surroundings.
Yeah. Which I think is that's an interesting way to start off. A little science for the brain.
Yeah, a little science for being reported in Live Science.
All right, so
You should save one of these for last.
yeah, I'm gonna save the text message for last.
Yeah, that one is the last.
What is up? Okay, Kotaku, what you got for us now?
Okay, so reported in Kotaku, Italian. What happened is everybody loves Final Fantasy. I'm gonna begin that. Everybody has their favorite Final Fantasy game or experience. Well, Final Fantasy not only for gaming. What happened for a bunch of Italian lawmakers who gathered for discussion on data transparency in a political decision. A video of Final Fantasy VII's Tifa Lockhart was played at this gathering, but
and it was definitely a not safe for work video. We will leave it right there.
Yes, so it is an X-rated video that was played during a Zoom call when Jiro Parisi, one of last year's, when they were trying to talk about last year's Nobel Prize winners in physics, the video played for 30 seconds, but because of the delay with the Zoom, the person that was doing it didn't realize it, so it was on display for a while.
Oh my god.
So, yeah. So they didn't realize it until they screamed certain profanities at him in Italian to get his awareness of what was being played behind him.
Separate computer, man. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Check your browser history.
Check browser, check your things. X-rated.
We will leave that as it is.
Yes.
Now let's talk about the French dressing regulation.
Yes. So I never knew about this, but
no, this is weird. Apparently, for the last 70 years, there was an FDA regulation on French dressing that had to be met before it could be sold.
Yeah. Reported in the NPR. So
yep, it was standard of the identity of established in 1950. French dressing was one of the 3 types of dressings identified by the FDA, said in the final rule posted to the Federal Register on Thursday. The other 2 were mayonnaise and just salad dressing.
So when it was first introduced, French dressing, what it means by standard of identity, the French dressing was a basis for the dressings. But as the years went on, it became less of a base for other dressings and just became its own dressing. So because of that, quote, the Association for Dressing and Sauces, an industry group founded in 1926, petitioned for the standard to be revoked in 1998, citing, quote, the explosion in varieties of salad dressings available, hence ranch, cheese, peppercorn, and Italian. Fresh dressing was no longer a baseline for other dressings. So
it has become marginalized. In December of 2020, the FDA proposed revoking the standard for French dressing in the name of flexibility and innovation.
Yeah, so basically, because it's not a standard, it's not going to be regulated as a standard baseline. So.
Wow, that's just wild.
Yep, so they were marginalized French dressing. How dare you? I don't use French dressings. I don't care.
But,
I like
the weird things you find on the law books, man.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
a lot of weird things. This is one of those. This is just an example of weird laws. But
well, how about something funny for your texting? Now we've all got those alerts. Like right now, I got a bunch of alerts for the weather system that's rolling through the East Coast this weekend. It's gonna suck, but it'll be fine.
It pushed my date for. I had to take my vehicle in to get detailed, and they called me and said can't because it's gonna be snowing. So.
And so in the Missouri State Highway Patrol.
Yeah, reported through a Fox 2 affiliate.
All right, so they had put out an emergency alert saying for Gotham City, Missouri, purple and green 1978 Dodge 3700 GT was
license plates. You kid me.
Was put out. This was a test.
Yeah, it was
I gotta give you props. This is probably one of the best test messages I've ever heard.
So yeah, when this alert went out, people were a little bit confused because what the alert was alerting people was on the car driven by Joker goons that were in the 1989 Batman film. So fortunately, they didn't need a Cape Crusader to solve the mystery. But minutes later, after that, they quote the state police sent word the alert was a test message.
And it was a joke.
Yeah.
And
so ha ha ha.
Perfect.
Perfect haha.
Perfect way to end the show this week too.
Yes.
So thank you everyone for watching. If you're new here and you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and hit the subscribe and the bell notification to be notified when future videos come out. Those who've been here, please continue to hit the like button, share this out with your friends, do all those things to kind of help get the word out on our wonderful little corner of the internet. If you want to support, that's a great way to support the channel. If you want to, if another way you can support is you can head on over to patreon.com/scuba studio and consider being a patron. We have a couple behind the scenes comments here and there as working on stuff. One of the more regular things is we do a live stream after show, which we do right after the podcast. So we'll be heading over there in a few minutes. So if you're a Patreon member, head on over to Patreon, check out the after show. Everyone else, thank you much for watching. Stay safe and do all the things. I want to thank Sirenscape, even though we didn't hear them this week, but we've been using them for well over 2 years now. They're a great resource for background music and soundboards you can use in your tabletop experiences or in podcasting. Go check them out at sirenscape.com. They are amazing and have a wide variety of sound. Yep. So, thank you, Ry, for another Wednesday night hangout.
Thank you. Namaste.
We will see you all on our next stream. Have a good night.
Peace. My friends. Peace.